Hello and welcome to the Be Your Own podcast. I'm your host, Samana Duran, and founder of Be Your Own, the global media hub of all things entrepreneurship and career navigation. As you know, this podcast is all about highlighting incredible women out there doing awesome things. Welcome back to the Be Your Own podcast. This is episode 7 of season 2, and today I'm joined by Andrea Lisbona, the founder of Touchland, and she's completely shaken up the entire hand sanitizing industry. It all started back in 2010 in Barcelona when Andrea, the founder and CEO, decided to revolutionise the commoditised industry of hand sanitisers. She decided to take hand hygiene to a whole new level with a visionary team that had a sixth sense for what was needed. There is absolutely no doubt that Touchland is disrupting and will ultimately innovate a massive worldwide industry, personal sanitisation. Several years ago, we marched out a campaign to help support Touchland with their Kickstarter project. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much Andrea has grown. So now, on to the podcast. Hi Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today on the Be Your Own podcast. I'm seeing your stuff pop up all over my Twitter and Instagram. How's everything been going since we last spoke a couple of years ago?
It's good. We've been extremely busy since we moved to Miami in 2018 and launched the brand in December 2018. It's been quite a ride.
I know, it's been amazing to watch you scale up so quickly. So take us through your Touchland backstory.
We started Touchland as a hand sanitizing distribution company in 2010. In 2010, we saw the need to disrupt this product category. And the reason why is because the same way Nespresso, Dyson, Apple did in their own industries, hand sanitizer plays a key role for everyone to stay healthy. Like 80% of infectious diseases are spread through hands. And when you took a look to the market, there was nothing that was innovative for 20 years. Like you would find these gel or foams that are very sticky, smell like strong alcohol, and the whole experience was not very pleasing. And so what we set up to is to change this category by creating products that people look forward to use. And we started 5 years distributing hand sanitizer solutions, and that helped us out to understand better from the B2B perspective, from the B2C perspective, what was the main pains on that industry. Like, for example, in the case of companies, the fact that there was no technology that allows you to see and monitor the refill levels. So when you're on the go, you're on an airport, you want to sanitize your hands with a dispenser, almost 95% of the time, those dispensers are empty. And it creates user frustration. Plus, it creates like a danger for people that it's not able to sanitize their hands. And so after those years, we decided to launch our own product line in Barcelona. It was very successful, but obviously our goal was from the very beginning to launch in the US market. US represents 30% of the global demand of hand sanitizers, plus they had been using this product for more than 20 years. So the maturity of that industry in the US was more advanced than in other regions. So that's why in 2018, we packed everything and came to the US. We started with a Kickstarter campaign in July 2018 that was fully funded in 24 hours, ended up being 450% funded, and it allowed us to start creating that amazing community that has pushed the brand forward since that day. And then we launched our .com experience in December 2018. And since then, it's been the craziest 2 years of our lives.
Would you say it's a typically male-dominated space?
Well, I have never considered that it could be any different being a woman or a man. I am a crazy entrepreneur. I don't take a no for an answer. I'm a fighter and a hustler. So I just go for what I want. Our goal was to become the Dysons, the Nespresso, the Apples on this industry. And I have been able to, and again, we're only getting started, but it's been a tough process. If we encountered any issue, obviously, because I was a woman, I overcome that issue in a couple of seconds because I don't think there should be any difference. And that's why I operate under that assumption. And but it's been a very antiquated, commoditized industry. So it's been more about coming to the game, trying to change the way hand sanitizer was perceived. So, for example, like hand sanitizer industry prior to Touchland was an industry that was basically marketed by fear. Like your phone contains more germs than a public toilet seat. Your door contains, every time you touch your door handle, it has more germs. And we thought that if we really wanted to create a product that people would look forward to use, fear was not the way to do it. And that's why we wanted to create a product that had a hype, a lifestyle, and an approach that would make people be excited about this hygiene habit and would turn it into a ritual.
I remember when we helped to push out your Kickstarter campaign, I think you was roughly raising about 50k. What have you taken away from that overall experience?
Yeah, so the Kickstarter campaign was an amazing experience. The reason why we did it is because we wanted to get some market feedback. We are a community-driven company. So everything that we do is because we listen to the community that started in social media and Kickstarter. We have now not only been one of the, to say the biggest hand sanitizer brand on social media, but on top of that, we have become the coolest hand sanitizer brand on TikTok, hitting 10 million views in less than a year since we launched on TikTok platform. So again, the reason why we did the Kickstarter campaign was basically to get some market feedback once we launched into the US. Surprise to us, the product was really low from the beginning, and we actually developed many accessories and many scents based on that customer's feedback and community. And I think companies that don't use and don't listen to their community, they are missing 90% of what could drive them to the top. Because nowadays, thank God, with the social media and everything, you can get your customers' feedback. You can throw some questions like, what would be the next scent you'd like us to launch? What could be the next product we'd like us to launch? What could be the next partnership you'd like to see? And that's a valuable input that you don't get anywhere else.
I've noticed that the Touchland community is really supportive and there's such a strong network there. Do you use a lot of their content?
Yes, we are, as I said, we grow so much thanks to our community. I think one thing that obviously is quite interesting in terms of data for the company is that Touchland has not spent $1 on paid collaborations since the very beginning. And the reason why is because nowadays when you're on social media and you see so many people promoting products, you really don't know if that person really loves the brand or is getting paid to say that. So that was our biggest concern. We wanted to get people to review our product, but just to say whatever they thought. And again, that's a risk for many brands that they want to control the messaging. But in our case, when we started partnering with beauty bloggers and everyone, we said we want you to tell exactly the feedback on the product. If it's good. If it's not, it's not good. But it's up to you to share your real experience with the product. And thanks to that, it started like a domino effect. We started in the beginning reaching out to beauty bloggers and building that community. And nowadays we have more than 20,000 collaboration requests from many influencers and bloggers and beauty experts and lifestyle influencers that travel across the world that they want to partner with Touchland to take the product with them wherever they go.
And if we step away from the community, you've recently partnered with Zobele, the manufacturing company. What does that partnership look like and how is the company structure now at Touchland?
So we partnered with them to develop our products to be manufactured in the US. They partner with us in terms of regulatory and partnership, and especially for startups that have so much demand. In our case, we've always sold out. It's always necessary to have a partner that can back your growth. Especially last year we grew 500%. This year we've grown 1,200%. So at those rates, it's our biggest challenge has always been supply chain, because no matter how much we extend capacity, we're always behind demand. Nowadays, we operate in the US. We have international partners in Korea, Canada, Mexico, Italy, but we have over 600 distribution inquiries across the world. And it is extremely frustrating as a passionate founder, when you see all of these proposals from everywhere, every country in the world, that they say, I want to bring your product here. We believe that people in, I don't know, South Africa, or people in France, or people in Brazil would love to have Touchland. So again, it's very challenging because you want to go everywhere, but again, you have to be realistic that a company growing at 1,200% growth with such a big demand already in US, it's always going to be challenging of where to go next and where to allocate those resources. So the team has grown a lot. We have 12 people full time, and then we have distributors with their own team across the world. That most of them, they have around in between 10 and 40 people in each country, in between sales people, marketing people, and everything. So the team starts looking very big. And again, we only launched 2 years ago, so it's been a very crazy growth, especially obviously with the pandemic, and that accelerated our growth. And the success that the brand has had so far with celebrity endorsements. With this year, we won the Lure Best of Beauty Awards, the Beacon Awards on product innovation. And so the whole, all of the accomplishments and all the accolades have been obviously pushing even faster our growth. And we have a lot of partners. We partner with many 3PLs that serve those hundreds of thousands of orders that we've done this year. We, again, 90% of my time is allocated to supply chain, because right now is what we want to do is secure and maximize the product availability for as many people as possible. We want to be there when people need us the most. The brand, again, was experiencing an amazing growth. Like prior to the COVID, we launched in Urban Outfitters, Riley Rose, Revolve, Nordstrom, Bloomingdale's. So that was all prior to the COVID. Even in January, we launched in 1,200 doors in Ulta Beauty, and we sold out within days. So obviously, I think it's been in a pandemic moment, it has accelerated our growth, but the brand was already selling out all of the time prior to the pandemic. And so what we have basically done is dedicate all our resources, marketing-wise, everything, only to capacity expansion plans, because right now it's people need us and we want to make sure that we're available for them. During the pandemic, we sold out. I think it was March 5th. We sold out, and so we took the decision, which, because we were a D2C brand, we were capable to do it, to create a pre-order similar to Kickstarter, a pre-order list with a very transparent 8-week timeline, because I think, like, in our case, transparency has played a great role for us, like being brutally honest and transparent and not hide anything, even if it's bad. And in our case, for example, in the middle of a pandemic, we were offering a pre-order of 8 weeks. And again, for people to be able to say, okay, I'm going to wait 8 weeks, or no, I need the product right now. But even like that, the e-commerce exploded with pre-orders. With 8 weeks wait time, we got 34,000 people on wait lists. So it's been, these 2 years have been a complete adventure for us of accomplishments. Again, many obstacles, but it's been so far worth it.
I recently noticed as well that Kris Jenner endorsed your Touch Hub, I believe it is. Did you always have such a huge vision for Touchland?
Yeah, I've always believed that we would be the Apples, the Nespresso, the Dysons. Obviously, now I see it more clear and more tangible than I saw it 10 years ago. But I've had this vision from the very beginning. It was a big dream. Many people back then thought that I was illusionated and like that I was not realistic and that I was not going to make it. And it has taken us many years, many tears, many sweat in order to get where we are. But again, I think what makes a true entrepreneur is the ones that never give up, that have a long-term vision, and that no matter what you encounter on the path, you simply keep pushing forward.
Since moving to the States, have you had much time to explore it? How do you get that work-life balance? Because over there, the hustle culture is quite intense.
It's hard. It's hard because, like, I again, this is like my baby. I dedicated 1/3 of my life to this company. But I also learned from my father. My father was a businessman. He was an entrepreneur, and when I was little, I got very frustrated when I saw him in the dinners talking about business, in the weekends talking about business, like in the middle of a family meeting, stand up and take a call. And that kind of like made an impact on me. So I always, what I've been able to do, and again, I work a lot, but what I've been able to do is when I have quality time, I have quality time. And if I'm with family or I'm with friends, or that moment is sacred, and I really dedicate my full attention to that. So if I'm working, I'm 100% working. But when I am not working, I really want to separate that. And again, I work with my husband, so sometimes even himself cannot avoid it and say, hey, what do we do with that order? I said, tomorrow. Like, let's try to educate ourselves not to be talking about work all day, because I know how that was for me when I was little with my father.
I love the discipline there, because as an entrepreneur, I know how difficult it can be to switch off entirely. So one last question before we finish off with this podcast. What's next for Touchland, and what's on your horizon for 2021?
So we have a lot of innovations in the pipeline, a lot of new products, a lot of new formulas, new scents. And again, we want to continue leading by innovation in design and experience. Building a brand, it takes many years. Like you see it with Nike, with Apple. Like we are focused on a long-term vision. We want to be basically the innovators within this category. And I think like our mindset, in difference with the majority of hand sanitizer brands that appeared during the pandemic, is that most of them, they just want to leverage this pandemic. And in our case, we want to be that irreplaceable brand that is going to go with you. And when you think about phone, you want an iPhone. When you think about the hair dryer, you want a Dyson. When you think about the coffee machine, you want Espresso. And when you think about the hand sanitizer, you want Touchland. So that's why we are going to be working again for next year to grow and to be more and more involved in people's life. But again, this is not like a sprint. This is a marathon. And for us, it's like what's going to be in 10 years from now, in 5 years from now. How do we see the brand? How we continue to make people love the brand? Because again, brands are like relationships. Like we have got people's love in 2 years period of time, like the attention, the love, the excitement. But like relationships, you have to keep building that spark. You have to keep building that relationship. So when 10 years from now, they still love, respect, and embrace Touchland.
Amazing. I'm going to keep my eye out for everything that's happening on your radar. Thank you once again for joining us on the Be Your Own podcast, Andrea. And I really look forward to seeing you again when you come back to London.
Thank you very much for allowing me to share my story. And I hope we can meet sometime soon.
Thank you so much for listening. Please let us know what you think of the show. Don't forget you can find us on both Instagram and Twitter at BeYourOwnUK. Our email address is beyourown@beyourown.org, so make use of it and drop us an email with anything that you want to know. If you fancy reading pretty much all of the career navigation stuff we talk about here on the podcast, then head over to beyourown.org for exclusive content, interviews, tools and resources. And lastly, if you love the show, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcast, either on Stitcher, iTunes or Spotify. And that's it from me. See you next time.